Welcome back. I haven't talked about wrestling on this channel for many months now, but we're gonna do it today. And I am with a guest who hit me up in the comments from my big brother shit, and we hit it off. We talked, and he likes wrestling. I like wrestling, and we have some big wrestling news this week. But I'm going to let Kota introduce himself.
Oi, oi, oi. I'm that groupie your partner left you for, and now your children call me daddy. Yes, I am Coda, and Nick, thank you so bloody much for having me today to talk wrestling.
Oh, you are very welcome. And I don't know when this will air, probably Friday, but this is happening mere hours after the death of the Queen. So I'm pretty sure you're probably going through some trauma right now, but thank you for making time, anyways.
I like to give back to charity, so you're welcome. I'm just kidding. No, it's a pleasure, mate. It's quite gobsmacked. I was a bit taken. I'm not one of those people to be taken off guard, but it's something or another. So the best thing we can do is carry on, go on, and talk some wrestling.
Well, from the Queen to the Jester, we're going to be talking about Tony Khan today. But before that, this press conference with CM Punk is the biggest news in wrestling, honestly. And CM Punk's press conference, where he went in on the EVPs, that being the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, and I think kind of Adam Page as well, even though I don't really understand the beef there, but maybe you do.
Mhm.
First of all, do you actually know what happened between Punk and Colt Cabana?
I actually did a little bit of research, and as far as I know, they have kind of risen up in terms of wrestling. He wanted to take Cabana when they went up to WWE, which I believe Cabana was briefly in. I could be wrong, so don't attack me, Mox. But from what I've
It was brief. He was there briefly.
okay, so from what I prefaced is Cabana wasn't happy for Punk's success, nor the support. But again, we all know the way that Punk's psychology is. But they have a beef. What ended up happening? Punk went on Cabana's podcast. What is it? The Art of Wrestling, and he went on his podcast, and they talked about having a MRSA infection, and so the doctor at WWE sued Punk as well as Colt. And then Punk, I guess, promised Colt, hey, I'll take care of your legal bills. I got you. Long story short, things went awry. No one really knows. Punk won't really give an answer to. But he tried suing Punk. Punk tried countering. Then he found out that Colt shares a bank account with his mom. So he goes, what can I do with that? How can I be so cruel? So he dropped it, but he claims he has the receipts for all the litigation, lawyers, bills, everything. And so, I will say Punk does seem like a very loyal mate until you cross him. And it seems like Colt may have crossed him. But again, it's he said, and the truth lies somewhere. So I do know that the Bucks, Adam Page, Omega, them lot in the Elite, mates with Cabana. And when Punk came into AEW, there was a bit of uneasiness. But then when Tony Khan bought out Impact, I believe.
ROH.
Oh, is Impact still even around? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. ROH. Okay, Ring of Honor. So he bought that. He moved some of his wrestlers from AEW to Ring of Honor. So technically, Colt did not lose his job. He's still wrestling. He just got moved to a different.
So then, what was the beef then? If he's not fired, because I mean, it feels like the Elite made this like they went to the dirt sheets and they tried to make this like a big topic about Cabana. Am I wrong?
I think what had happened. Yeah, I mean, I think they use that as leverage. Now, let me preface this, mate. So, when Punk came in, I reckon, I mean, if you look back within the last 7 years, Punk has not been that great to work with. He's not easy. he's a bit difficult, and he has that chip on his shoulder, and I do reckon it stems even from WWE not main eventing a WrestleMania, feeling like, you know, he was the top wrestler, he was at the top of the game, he made WWE millions of dollars, and I reckon because, you know, he hasn't gotten his cues for that, he has a chip on his shoulder. He came in. I know that the Bucks, I'll just say, okay, the Elite. You know the Elite, right? The whole faction?
Yeah, to an extent.
Okay, the Elite basically consists of, you know, the Bucks, Omega, Adam Page. So when I say the Elite, I'm just saying that so I have to repeat redundantly.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
So when Punk came in, I think it was a bit of a divide, because Punk felt as if, like, you know, I'm going to make you lot money. I'm doing this for you. You know, you guys, you know, need me. I don't need you. But, you know, if you want to be a little sheep and follow me, you know, may that be. So it didn't go very well. And also, too, Khan paid lots and lots and lots and lots of money to Punk. So riding on Punk and hoping, you know, to boost everything, as any wrestling promoter would want. And so I knew, and you could tell from the press conference, which we'll get to, that Punk knew that he had Tony Khan eating from the palm of his hand. But he also knew that he couldn't get anyone from the Elite to eat out of the palm of his hand. And again, we'll get to it, but even Punk made a reference where he basically said, you know, these fucktards, idiots, and so on, and they can't even manage a target, yet I'm trying to run a legitimate business here. Interesting how he says, I'm trying to run.
That is interesting.
And again, really, what is an EVP?
Well, in their case, it doesn't seem like a whole lot if they have to go to the extremes of trying to use the dirt siege for like leverage. They seem like they have no stroke within their own company that they're supposed to be trying to run. And with Tony Khan, but I know for a long time now, you know, when AEW started, it seemed like the Elite had some say with the booking, but at some point Tony Khan said, I'm the only booker here or whatever, and he's been doing his own thing. So I feel like they've lost power for a long time now. But
I think what Tony Khan needs to do is cut his losses and bring in actuals, you know, because again, I mean, they're not even
100%
representing the women's division very well, but that's for another day to talk about. So, yes, they all.
But the problem with that, though, is like the AEW fanboys and the fan base of the AEW, they're like, we don't like writers, we just like wrestling, which is something I always have a problem with modern wrestling, but I guess that's a discussion for another time too.
See, you're more from like an old school sense of wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm from the new school. And
which I like.
Yeah, and so we're going to have like contrasting opinions. Yes. And I'm sure like the way, you know, things should be handled or what wrestling is and techniques. But again, later date, everyone stay tuned. So, but yes, I think, because again, my initial reaction was, oh, I didn't even know a Tony Khan. I just thought that was a bloke in the back. I thought this is, you know, a company founded by the Bucks, by Omega. Because again, you have to give credit where it's, you know, bloody due. There's some respect onto their name. You know, they came up in Japan. You know, they did the rounds, you know, the Bullet Club. So, you know, when it started, it was very much of like, you know, that grit, that punk, that like, you know, against authority type of like, you know, we're going to give you what WWE's not giving you, which look at now that we're under the Triple H era, a lot of wrestlers are going back to WWE, hence Malachi Black. Yep. So yeah, no, in its beginning and its upbringing, I think it was just basically, like you said, a fanboy who was obsessed with wrestling, but knows shit about business and gets very sensitive when people throw things at him, even though he can dish them. he put a lot of money in, and look at it. In the beginning, who ran it, especially during the pandemic era? It was your boy Jericho, the Bucks, Omega. Those are the ones that come to mind mostly for me, right? And then, my bad, I apologize, Cody. And Cody left because of creative differences and contractual disagreements. He actually did AEW a favor after his contract had ran out. He finished the storyline and tied everything with a bow with the company out of good faith, out of I don't want to say being a good person because I don't know him, but he did the professional move. But he did not like where things were going. And mind you, he went back to WWE while it was still under the McMahon era. And again, it's
it
funny.
was the right choice for him at that point.
It is. And to say that, Punk said, he made a point to call out the locker room and say, the grass ain't green on the other side. You got to water the grass. But no, people just like to take a shit and eat where they shit. Again, the grass is looking pretty bloody green at WWE.
It is starting to turn green under Triple H. I feel like it's going in a far better creative direction. Meanwhile, AEW is like clearly a mess. We've had the title change hands multiple times now, 3 months in a row. Punk keeps getting injured. It's a mess right now, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. And so can we preface this press conference, or what they call it? Media scum?
The media scrum, yeah.
Scrum. Okay, sorry about that. So I have a question. How do you have like a press conference or media scrum without the media?
Well, is that because you not consider the dirt sheets the media?
I mean, I don't even reckon they're the dirt sheets that were there. I mean, like they're hand poached people that Tony Khan allowed in. Like, look, yeah. I'm gonna reference, like, he does these as if he's coming off of like a basketball game, and someone made this great a shot and it's historic and monumental, like, but it's just not that. And like, so it's very much not that. And so I found it very interesting. But as we're going into that, I was thinking, and I really, really put some mind into it. So Punk tore his tricep.
Yes.
In the match that he had with Mox. And so as of right now, if he's not in surgery within the next 48 hours, he will be in surgery, which will leave him out close to a year because it's about an 8 to 9 month recovery. Uh-huh. So this all just seemed a little bit rehearsed, not in a way of like telling a story or pushing a story. Absolutely not. But it seemed a little bit like Punk knew he had an injury when he finished the match. He knew that he was going to be out of commission. He was not going to be able to wrestle, right?
Yeah.
Why not take shots? Say how you feel while you're on the top, while he has the belt, because what is he going to lose? He's going to have to drop the belt anyways. And we all know this company likes interim title holders. Uh-huh. So I'm like now like rethinking all this. And again, this ain't no CM Punk WWE pipe bomb. This is Phil Brooks being an utter twat. And he bloody knows what he's fucking doing. Again, he's not a stupid man. And so he said everything he had to say. He let Tony Khan let the inmates run the establishment, run the prison. He, as the warden, should have opened up his gob and said something. If his eyes said it alone every time Punk said something. But again, just like every time he has a press conference with a brand new wrestler, you know how he likes to give those cuddles to the wrestlers? He
gives cuddles. Oh, yeah, hardcore cuddles.
He gave Punk an even extra special cuddle when Punk got there. Even Punk was like, all right, mate, you can let go now. And so it's funny, like I said beforehand, Punk knows that Khan will eat out of the palm of his hand. And look what happened. And so as he did, attacking Adam Page, for which I don't understand why. He said that Adam Page went into business for himself. What business has he gone in for himself?
Yeah, that was one I didn't understand. I tried to do research on that, and it seemed as though, I guess at one point Adam Page said something in an interview how when like he just doesn't take advice from Sting and CM Punk, he likes to do his own thing or something, and I guess CM Punk
And
doesn't
and
like
nothing.
the fact that the wrestlers don't, which is a problem with the younger wrestlers. They don't listen to the veterans, I guess. But
I think that's called entitlement. And what do they say? Like, smart people learn from mistakes, but wise people learn from others.
yes,
And I think a lot of people, you know, in a younger generation, if you will, have a sense of entitlement, have a sense of participation award, and they've been praised so much to the point where when they get, when someone gives them one little critique, nope, I don't need it. I got it figured out. And Punk did, make a comment saying, like, hey, if someone's giving you advice, that is your elder that has had success beyond your success. Maybe
yes.
you should, perk up your ears a little bit and at least show the respect and go, okay, thank you.
And he should have, because his title run, Adam Page's title run. I mean, CM Punk's title runs have sucked now too, but Adam Page's title run was non-existent. It was like, why is this even a thing?
Again, it was a setup. They knew Punk was coming in. And honestly, that fallout from all this, my first thought was, Tony needs to step his pussy up. Like,
He
he
does.
generally needs to step his pussy up and get on this. And so I'm not sure if you know, but he is basically running AEW now without any EVPs. They've been stripped of titles, same with Punk, and they're on suspension.
Well, this is my thing with Tony, and I've been saying this since anytime I've talked wrestling on this channel, is he wants to be the main booker, he wants to be like a control freak, but at the same time he wants to be everyone's friend. So
But
how in the hell does those two things work together?
like I said, doesn't know how to run a wrestling company. I mean, think about it. Look what he just did, and like I said, he needs to stand up because he has to think much further than the fan base. He has to think of marketing, advertisers that pay in, TNT, like TBS. He has to think about like people that investors. Because do you think this is going to make investors have trust in him, have faith in him? They're going to stop dropping, and so again, we missed a huge bit on the side, but basically what happened was once Punk got done with his media scrum, he went back to his locker room. Now, coincidentally enough, Ace Steel was back there with his wife, along with Punk's dog Larry. And what's quite interesting, though, again, I felt as if this is preconceived setup, because why else would Ace Steel and his wife be in a locker room when Punk's gonna go take a shower?
Well, I think he's in there because, I mean, even though CM Punk was in UFC, I think Ace Steel is like, out of the group, out of the elite, and out of Ace Steel and CM Punk, I would take Ace Steel in a fight any day.
And guess what though? Punk needed the backup.
Yes.
Punk knew it was going to go on. I think Punk, give a hint, nudge him, to be like, yeah, I need backup, because he knew what he was going to say. I think he gave him a rundown. So he got back there. So then coming in, and again, it has not been confirmed, has not been said. So we don't know if the Bucks came in and, kicked the door open, or if they politely.
There's two different stories.
I have a few questions. I don't bloody know, but what I do know is that Punk was the one to make the first punch, if you will, and he hit Matt.
But do you know that for sure? Who told you this? Was this Dirt Sheets?
Like, let me tell you something. Don't ask questions to answers you don't want, mate.
Well, I'm just asking that because I've read that in one of the dirt sheets, but these dirt writers, they spin their own thing constantly. That I can't trust anything Meltzer says.
So yeah, you could call him daddy. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure he would love
call
that.
it grandpa.
So I will say, allegedly, Punk made the first hit. So allegedly, he went after Mark Jackson, and then A Steel allegedly tried to exit the wife. Which again, why have your wife when you know there's about to be a fight?
True.
And then so he ended up. So during all this, then Nick comes in, which is Mark's brother, and he goes in at Punk. Then Omega comes and picks up Larry the dog, tries to set Larry out. A Steel jumps on top of Omega, not literally jump, but gets on Omega because everyone's on top of Punk. Attempts allegedly to bite him, pull his hair, snatch him bald, teach him a lesson. And let me tell you, being bit is not fun. I've been bit. That is not fun. And especially because you don't know what people have running around these days. And so bites him and so goes after him. And I know I have my notes there, a few other people that got suspended. It wasn't just the Bucks, Omega, and Punk. Again, I think Punk may be leaving the company. Maybe I think this was his way out of a contract. He wasn't happy, but a few other wrestlers have been suspended as well for partaking in this.
Were they trying to break it up, or were they actually fighting?
Again, allegedly, it's been said that the Bucks had these two wrestlers, which again, was it Daniel? Let me see here. You know what? I don't know the two wrestlers. Tip my tongue. It's gonna annoy the tit off me. But so okay, there's a few other wrestlers again. They got suspended as well. When I find the names, I shall let you know. But so then again, A Steel picked up a chair, threw it at Nick. Nick got a black eye from that, and again, we couldn't see anything. And then also, too, if you were watching the media scrum, you see a security guard running in the background. Did you notice that? Did you see that?
I did not. I did not watch the whole thing. But
oh, okay. Well, what are you doing on here? I'm kidding. So
I can't watch these fucking media scrums.
So basically, you're like, I got shit to do. So
I gotta watch fucking 24 hours of Big Brother.
Oh my god! Everyone, check out his Big Brother reviews. Quite brilliant. Let me take a moment to say that. Check out every review Nick has on Big Brother because his take is quite interesting, and I reckon what Nick says is a lot of what you lot are thinking. So make sure that you press the shit out of that subscribe button and you like his videos. And you're going to get more great content like this. Moving on. Now, as I'm looking for the other names, I probably left the paper in the loo. So we're going to move on. And we're going to talk about the ending of this, which was MJF.
Well, that's the big. I mean, that was supposed to be the big story, but it also takes away from MJF because all this.
I don't like MJF, and this might be something you can speak on because he is that larger than life wrestling entertainer. He is that character. Whether you see him out and about, he'll flip you off, call you fat, call you ugly. If he's doing interviews, it doesn't matter who he's doing the interview with. He stays in character. That's
old school kayfabe, I guess.
I was going to ask you that. What are your opinions on that? Because again, I didn't like him until I had to think back and I go, I see what he's doing now. But and again, he's doing his job. Why? Because I hate him. And I didn't know why I hated him. But
exactly.
no.
Go ahead.
Go on. No, I want your opinion on that old school bravado of the Ric Flairs, the Hulk Hogan's, the Ultimate Warriors. They may not have been the best in the ring, warrior, But like, talk about their personas and what old school wrestling was like when it came to their personalities.
I mean, I think the kayfabe part, it was such a different time because, I mean, you should know if you're watching The Ultimate Warrior and his crazy ass promos that wrestling's fake. But, you know, back in the day.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. Carry on, mate. Carry on.
But, you know, back then they would just stay in character all the time when they're out and about to make people believe that they're actually like the character that they are, which is, I think, something MJF takes pride in doing. I don't know if it works as well anymore because people don't buy into pro wrestling as much these days. But I do respect MJF for being being in character all the time and having a character in a day and age where I don't feel like we see consistent character work.
Mm-hmm. But you know, that's quite interesting though, because again, I like that commitment. I really appreciate and enjoy, because that is an art. That is an art to have and to carry on. And I think that's brilliant, because nowadays you got wrestlers, you know, being written off telly, or you know, having a storyline, but then you see them like, you know, hanging out with our competitors, or you see them on Instagram going, oh, I'm on holiday, or oh, look at, you know, what I'm doing, and it messes it up. But initially, sports entertaining, and again, it's a whole new like batch of people. And so yeah, it was quite interesting how MJF, like, the whole reveal was supposed to, you know, be like, oh shit, now that got overshadowed by all the bullocks that are going on backstage. But
yeah,
and he came out the other night, and you know, he tried cutting this like, you know, cutesy baby face, like, you know, hey, I'm in New York, and then Mox comes out, and you know, MJF starts to unravel, and it gets back to the old MJF. And you know what's funny? And MJF pretty much did this to Warlow and fucked up Warlow. Isn't it funny how karma?
So? What do you mean?
Oh, he pretty much did, not to the extent. He overshadowed Warlow when he started like going off on the company and saying, you know, I'm not going to show up to this event. He like fucked up everything that should have been set up for Warlow.
I see what you're saying, but I always felt like that was in character. I don't feel like that was ever real, in my opinion. I feel like what fucked up Wardlow is Tony Khan's terrible booking. If you're gonna book Wardlow to be this monster face that's supposed to be over, and then CM Punk gets injured and he is out for a while, why not make Wardlow your big champion? Because that would have planted Wardlow as the one of the top guys. Instead, he gets their little TNT title that's been passed around, and now Wardlow's just fallen back down into mid-card waters.
Speaking about not being passed around, how does it feel, Nick, to be passed? No, I'm just kidding.
I wish I was passed around more
often. And so, no, so I found it quite interesting, you know, that now it's kind of coming back to him. And again, depends on how you look at it. So that overshadows it. I don't think the belt should have been taken off Mox to begin with. I think Mox should have held on to that title. I don't even think it should have been an interim title. Punk, he's getting old. His body's falling apart. He can't even get on the top rope or get in a crowd without like breaking a foot.
Yeah.
Doing triceps. Like, he, again, that chip on his shoulder, you know, it's no bueno at all. And so, but you know, again, you know, where everything is going, last night they put the titles. See, AEW has so many bloody titles.
It's another thing that the titles don't mean anything if everybody has a title. So what's the point?
It's not currency, you know, or anything like supply and demand. It's like, what's the whole point of it? Unless Tony Khan, again, you got a lot of unhappy wrestlers, and you got a lot of wrestlers wanting their release from AEW.
Do you think this is his way of trying to make them happy?
Absolutely. Participation award, mate. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a good point.
You know, it's his way to make him happy. He only has 2 shows a week. How can you fit all that talent? And then you're bringing over all these WWE talent, and it leaves a bad taste in the mouth of, you know, the original AEW wrestlers. And again, I forgot to add in the beginning, MJF, I guess you can consider in the beginning, like stages in the very start of AEW, he was one of the wrestlers. So you know, and again, was MJF really pissed off? Did he feel like, you know, the Mick was taken out of him?
I mean, I think that's what makes MJF's character so good, because it like blurs the lines. Is this legit or is it not? Which is something wrestling struggles with.
It does struggle. You're absolutely right with that. And so let me ask you this. How would you have handled this scenario if you were Tony Khan? What would you have done? Because it feels like he's doing things because of what public opinion. He's very much of, oh, the man of, I'm going to do what the public wants me to do. He seems like a very insecure man.
Oh, he's definitely very insecure, man. Well, first of all, he just can't be friends with everyone. He has to be their boss. That is the main goddamn concern, because that's what gets him into these troubles. But also, I will also say, like you brought up the scrums earlier and how it's kind of just praise Tony Khan fest. This is what Tony Khan has always wanted, though. He pays Meltzer to say positive things about him. And then he has these scrums, and now I think it's hilarious that this is the scrum that blew up in his face.
Hey,
because it's what he's always wanted.
Be careful with what you wish for, what you ask for, because look, it is. And again, that's why I said these EVPs. No. I get it. It was cute at the beginning. Friendship. Yes. We all love each other. Yes. This is, a family. Yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it. But again, business. You have to put, show business. You got the show, you got the business.
But will Tony Khan ever actually see this as a business? Because I feel like he just wants to throw his money around. It doesn't even matter.
No, this ain't no psychology video. But I think psychologically, he's not even mature enough to come to those conclusions. That's why he needs to bring in creatives, bring in people that actually know the business. To help him, because again, it's like being a parent. He's basically a parent right now. Your children get into a fight, what are you gonna do? Fight amongst yourselves, or you can't take sides. And again, he's gonna make enemies. And I don't think he was prepared to make enemies. And I think again, I don't reckon Punk would start a lawsuit, but this is a brilliant way for Punk to file a lawsuit against AEW. He may threaten, hey, I want out of me contract. I'm not happy here. I'm not getting the respect I wanted. He went into this a media scrum, going, okay, I know I'm going to say I'm going to shoot my shot, and I'm going to shoot it at everyone, and I'm going to make sure that they know who I'm talking about, how I feel, and where I'm going with this. I don't think he was happy with the fact that he wasn't, like I said, getting the attention from the elite, and again, an injury. And again, he doesn't want another lawsuit or deal with another lawsuit. But this
I think that would be the hard part for his lawsuit, would be the fact that he keeps getting injured so much. He could be as unhappy as he wants, but he's also not being able to do his part of the contract.
I mean, but we don't know what's in that contract.
That's true.
I mean, because look, I reckon, like I said, Punk knew, this Tony's your favorite word. Tony's a stan of mine, because you love stans.
He's a bona fide mark for sure.
So I think Punk was able to finagle and get anything and everything he bloody wanted into that contract. And Tony's like, okay, here you go, here's the money.
You're probably not wrong.
That's the only thing that makes Tony Khan is money, and I reckon he's that one bloke. All his mates rode with him until they didn't. Why the money? Girls, money. He doesn't have any sense of common sense. His common sense is not so common, mate. But so as we kind of wrap this scattered first video up, if you will, I do have a silver lining.
What is the silver lining?
The silver lining is this fight that happened backstage with Punk lasted a lot longer than his fights at the UFC.
That is the silver. You're 100% correct about that.
So you know what, Punk? I tip my hat to you. And so we had to touch base on the history of, maybe we should go into histories of wrestlers and what they've done back into companies. I don't know. Do you see him going back to WWE, or do you just seem like riding into the
I'll say this. This would be the best case scenario for AEW if Tony Khan can get it together. Because one thing with like the MJF situation we talked about, they do a decent job of blurring the lines between what is real and what is not. If Tony Khan can be a boss and get the EVPs together and get CM Punk back in 8 to 10 months or whenever, and you know, make this actually the television show, because I'm a child of the Attitude Era, back when
Mm,
Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels hated each other and in real
mm.
life, and they were able to turn it into a storyline, even though in the end it screwed Bret Hart.
With
But
that
still, that
Montrez
would make great
screw top, right?
television. Yeah, it would make great television to bring this real life animosity into the actual storytelling,
And
because I
well,
think
look,
it makes for best TV.
and again, like Tony Khan fucked himself, mate, because that's what they would have had in a sense with that's what they would have had with MJF and Punk.
Yes, exactly.
That's
And they
exactly
did that brilliantly, actually.
exactly. So that's why Punk knew what it was going to overshadow. He knew what he was getting allegedly himself into. I don't want to say I know, but yeah, it is what it is. We're getting a lot. See what happens. I'm not sure if you saw last night's episode, but when he came on to nothing but booze. Thank God his segment was pre-recorded, pre-taped, but well shown on like the what they call it, Titantron, the
They
large
used to call it
screens.
in the WWE. I don't know what they call it in AEW.
Okay, I don't want to sound like a twat for not knowing. So,
Oh,
we'll
don't worry what the AEW marks think about you.
so, your opinion is the only one that matters, Nick. So yeah, on the screen they played before the show, and MJ came out. Tony Khan came out, and without bringing, it's funny, not without MJF or anyone bringing up the whole scenario situation, he came up and talked about how the belts had been vacated.
Which I think was a failure on his part to just not bring up the actual situation and hit it head on.
Well, look, maybe again we've not prefaced this. He's not a smart, he's not a smart lad.
I guess it could also be, I guess maybe potential lawsuits like you talked about, but I doubt it.
I mean, look, potential. That's the thing is we don't have all of the information. We're just getting bits and pieces, and I'm sure a lot of that's being pushed is what they want us to know and hear. I say give it a little bit more time, and I reckon you'll see, a Steel Punk. You'll see them talk a little bit more. People from their camp are going to talk a little bit more, but it's brilliant. If Tony Khan had half a brain cell, he would be able to market this, turn this around, figure it out legally, and build off of all this brilliant attention that they're getting.
Exactly. They're getting so much attention right now. It's gonna fall apart next week, I think, honestly, at least in the ratings. But
the ratings still haven't even come out for yesterday's show.
I think they were good. I saw it before we came on. They were like in the demo was up and they were still over 1 million viewers. So
okay. But again, we will see in the foreseeable future again. Malachi Black left, formerly known as Alistair Black from WWE, and
he's one of Triple H's boys.
Absolutely. And the thing is that his wife Zelina, she's over there, and I'm sure she's going to him and saying, "Hey, hey, guess what, babes? Things are so much brighter, fresher, easier here. Like the opportunity, come on in." I mean, he brought Johnny Gargano back. Thank God.
Yeah.
I love me Gargano. I hope he fixes Tommaso. I'm bloody beyond that Curran is back, and Scarlett. Oh, Scarlett. I'm so bloody happy. But
things are looking up at that side. I do have to wind down here, but I will give you any final thoughts on Tony Khan AEW.
I don't have any final thoughts because I'd have to think about him. So, but anyways, Nick, I appreciate you for having me, and I look forward to talking more wrestling in the future and bringing great content.
And thank you for joining me, Kota. I think you did some great research into this, and I can't wait to talk to you about modern wrestling and our differences, because I like that kind of shit.
I like having a discussion, and I cannot wait to get a bit of history, and hopefully for our listeners, your listeners, to get the history of what makes wrestling and what it is today if it weren't for like the Attitude Era. So I'm open for it and I can't wait for it, mate.
All right. Thank you, Kota.
Have a good one.